Welcome. Accounting and Management Made Simple is your channel of choice where we break down complex and difficult accounting and management principles into simple, understandable concepts. Whether you are a student preparing yourself for exams or a professional looking to apply knowledge practically, this channel helps you to grasp and understand complex key topics with ease. Please subscribe, share, like, and comment. Thank you. Hello students. Today, once again, we want to learn about accounting for errors. 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 And in my previous video, I say that there are two types of errors. There are two types of errors. We say that there are errors that are not disclosed. Errors that are not disclosed. Errors that are not disclosed by the trial balance, by the TB, and there are errors that are disclosed. Errors that are disclosed by the TB. And in our previous video, we covered errors that are not disclosed by the trial balance. We covered errors that are not disclosed by the trial balance. And therefore, in this video, we will delve into errors that are disclosed in the trial balance. We'll delve into errors that are disclosed by the trial balance. Once again, if we have been a blessing to you as we teach all these things, I want to urge you to support us. Kindly support us. Subscribe, like, share, and hit the notification bell so that anytime we post, load a new video, we are able to inform you. So for now, we're going to talk about errors that are disclosed by the trial balance. We said in that previous video, and I want to say the same again, that when we do our accounting, we do the double entry in a book called the General Ledger. We do our double entry in the book called the General Ledger. That's where we do the double entry, the debits and credit. The debits and credit. We said every transaction in the books of account has a debit and a credit, and we do our postings in the General Ledger. We do our postings in the General Ledger. And once we do the posting, we want to know whether our postings were correctly done. We want to know whether our postings are correctly done. And because of that, we prepare. And I said clearly that in the earlier years, I remember when I was graduating from University of Nairobi back in 1987, most of the books of accounts were being done manually. And therefore, the risk of making a mistake was very high. And therefore, we needed to check whether there were errors in the postings in the General Ledger. We needed to check whether there were post errors. And even today when we use computers to do the postings all the way from the source document all the way to the final accounts, the risk of making a mistake, especially in inputting, entering the information is there. And therefore, there is need to check whether we have made any errors before preparing our final accounts. And therefore, at the end of the accounting period, we check the balances in the General Ledger and we prepare the trial balance. We prepare the trial balance and we say the debits and credits. When you have various accounts, motor vehicle, land and buildings, plant and machinery, furniture and fittings, trade debtors, sundry debtors, bank, cash, salaries, rent, all the accounts, we bring the balances into the trial balance. We bring the balances into the trial balance And we say that if the postings were correctly done, that if for every debit there was a corresponding credit, every debit is a corresponding credit, every debit is a corresponding credit. If that was correctly done, it means that the balances in the accounts will end up giving us the total debits being equal to total credits, the total debits being equal to total credits. But we said in my first video that there are errors that can be committed and the debits will be equal to the credits, but the errors are still there. And those errors, they are the errors we say, they are not disclosed by the trial balance. They are not disclosed by the trial balance. We call such errors like errors of complete omission, errors of commission, errors of principle, errors of complete reversal, compensating errors, and many other errors. But now, there are errors that cause the trial balance not to balance. What do you mean by trial balance not balancing? It means that the debits are more than the credits, or the credits are more than the debits. And therefore, that tells us there is a problem. There is something that caused that. And we say that these are errors that are disclosed by the trial balance. If you realize that your total debits, if you realize that our debits are 980,000 and our credits are 1020,000, we know they have a difference of 40,000. They have a difference of what? 40,000. So we start asking ourselves, what is the cause of that error? Now, there are very, very many possible causes of the trial balance not balancing. There are very many possible causes of the trial balance not balancing. The first one is casting errors. Casting errors. What is casting errors? Casting means addition in accounting. Casting means additions in accounting. For instance, if this was trade debtors, and when we were adding the debits, we got 980, but when we were writing, instead of writing 980, we wrote 9,800. We are casting wrongly. We have added wrongly. That is an error because the debits now, the debits will be more than the credits because the corresponding credits were correct, but now the total on the debit, the trade debtor is higher, where the addition of one account was wrongly done. It was overstated or understated, it will result in a trial balance not balancing. The next category, because there are very many, I'll move a bit fast. The next category is called the error of addition or the casting error within the trial balance. Within the what? Within the what? The trial balance. Here it is within the accounts in the general ledger, but also in the trial balance. When you're adding the trial balance, you might make a mistake. You might make a mistake, and then you are still having the debits are not agreeing with the credit. The other error can be when we show the balance brought down on the wrong side of the account. The balance brought down on the wrong side of the account. For instance, trade debtors, the difference, the balance brought down is supposed to be on the debit side. The balance brought down is supposed to be on the debit what? Side. And if it's on the debit side, now we carry it from the debit side here and we take it to the debit side in the trial balance. When you prix mark this, there's a balance carried down. There's always a balance carried down. And once you get the balance carried down, you bring it down to know whether it's a debit or a credit balance. You bring it down to know whether it's a debit or a credit balance. So when you bring it down on the debit side, here you bring it to the debit side. What would happen if instead of bringing it down on the debit side, you came here and you say balance brought down on the credit side? It means you take the trade debtors from credit side and you come here and you put them on the credit side. If you put them on the credit side, the trial balance will not balance. The trial balance will not do what? Balance. They will not balance. They will not balance. Now, the next problem could be the next cause of the trial balance not balancing and therefore having errors that are disclosed is when the posting is done in only one account. Is the post instead of debiting and crediting, we only debited, not crediting, or we credited without debiting. It is an error whereby we are saying we make a posting in one account instead of two accounts. For instance, credit sales. Credit sales, we're supposed to debit trade debtors and we credit sales. We're supposed to debit trade debtors and we credit sales. Imagine if we just debited trade debtors and we never credited sales. It means that the debits will be more than the credits. The debits will be more than the credit. The next error like this one, it is the listing of the balance in the wrong column of the trial balance. It is when we are taking the balance here, trade debtors, we know is a debit balance of 9,800. Debit balance. But instead of bringing it on the debit side, we are saying trade debtors, we bring it on the credit what? Side. How you carry the balance from the trial balance to ensure that if it's a debit balance, you bring it to the debit side of the trial balance. If it's a credit balance, you bring it to the credit side of the trial balance. If you bring to the wrong, if you bring it to the wrong side of the trial balance, if you bring it to the wrong side of the trial balance, once again the trial balance will not balance. The other problem that can cause the error that are disclosed by trial balance is when the amount you debited is not the amount you credited. Is when the amount you debited is not the amount you did what? Credited. For instance, if we were to debit 9,800, but in one account we debited 9,800, and the corresponding account we credited 980. One account we debited 9,800, the other one we credited what? 980. The debit is more than the credit, and it will be seen in the trial balance. The other one is the opening balance. Is the opening balance brought down on the wrong amount. For instance, if we say this is motor vehicle account, and the opening balance is 5 million, and therefore we say the opening balance is brought down 5 million. 5 million. Instead of 95 million, we wrote 500,000. We wrote 500,000. If we brought down 500,000 instead of 5 million, we will understate the motor vehicles. We'll understate the motor vehicles, and our trial balance will not balance. Our trial balance will not balance. We might even, in some situations, the person might not even have brought down the motor vehicle. The bringing down of the motor vehicle amount, we just went and started posting without bringing down the balance in the motor vehicle. For instance, we might place the balance brought down in the wrong place. For instance, if our bank account had a bank overdraft, the temptation, because bank is an asset, is to assume that the balance brought down in bank is always on the debit side. But we know when the bank is an overdraft, the balance brought down should be on the credit side. The balance brought down should be on the credit what? Side. Now we will bring it on the credit side, debit side. So instead of bringing it to the credit side, because it's an overdraft, it's a liability. So you're supposed to bring it on the credit side. If you brought it down on the debit side, you will be making an error that can be disclosed by the trial balance. The trial balance will not balance. The trial balance will not do what? Balance. The other thing, maybe the balance carried down. The extraction of the balance carried down. It is 9,800. It's 9,800. Balance brought down. Remember, it is the position of the balance brought down that determines the position in the trial balance. If the balance brought down is to the debit side, you take it to the debit side. You don't look at the balance carried down, you look at the position of the balance brought down. To know where to take it to the trial balance, you look at the position of the balance brought down. In the bank, the balance brought down to the debit side, so we come here and we bring it to the debit side. We come here and we bring it to the debit what? Side. The debit side. If it's on the credit side, trade creditors, our balance carried down will be on the debit side, and the balance brought down will be on the credit side. Now, trade creditors, because the balance brought down is on the credit side, we will pick it and bring it to the credit side. We pick it and bring it to the credit what? Now, for instance, if the figure you are carrying, instead of carrying 9,800, you carry 9,800,000, the trial balance will not balance. The trial balance will not do what?
Balance.
The trial balance will not balance. So at times, you realize at the end of the period, the trial balance is not balancing. The trial balance is not doing what?
Balance.
You do everything it takes, but you don't know. We used, those other years, we used to work, at times you are working even through the night. You are trying to find out why is and that's why it was advisable to close your books of accounts every month, so that you're able to find out where did we go wrong before the transactions are too many to be able to track yourself down. So if you have the trial balance here, if you have the trial balance, and we are saying we have the debit side and we have the credit what? Sorry. We are saying there is land, there is plant, there is machinery, there is a motor vehicle, there is furniture and fittings, there is salaries payable, there is rent payable, these are liabilities, there is trade creditors, there is what? There is trade debtors, there is other creditors, there is other debtors, there is capital, there is loan. Now, we have all those things. And we're saying land, because land in us, to know again where to place the balance from the trial balance, from the general ledger, you need to ask yourself, are they land? Are they expenses? So, are they assets and expenses? Assets and expenses are supposed to always have a debit balance other than bank. The bank can have debit or credit balances, but other assets and expenses are supposed to have debit balance. The capital and all liabilities are supposed to have a credit balance. So if we say land was shillings in thousands, shillings in what? In thousands. Land was 2,500, plant was 5,500, machinery was 8,500, motor vehicle was 9,500, furniture and fittings was 800, salaries were 7,000, rent payable was 500, trade creditors were 1,000, trade debtors were 2,500, other creditors were 300, other creditors. This is why you should be very, very careful where you are putting them. Any payable is a liability. So it should be taken to the credit column. Should be taken to the credit what? Column. So 300 for salaries payable. Rent payable should be 500 on the credit side. Trade creditors 9,000. Trade debtors 2,500. Other creditors 3,000. Other debtors 200 because it's an asset. Capital 9,000 because on the credit side, because there's a capital balance. Loan 10,000. Now, if these were your balances, and we want to know, we have taken them from our general ledger, and we want to know, will the trial balance balance? Will the trial balance do what? Balance. If the trial balance does not balance, it means there is an error. It means there is a what? Yeah. So we add the debit side, and I'm adding now 25 plus 55, 2,000, 2,500 plus 5,500 plus 8,500 plus 9,500 plus 800 plus 2,500 plus 200. The debits are equal to 29,500. 29 what? 500. Let's find out how much are the credits. How much are the credits? This plus this is 19,000. 19, 1, 2, 3 plus 3,000. 1, 2, 3 plus 9,000. 9, 1, 2, 3 plus this is 800. 800. We get that one 800. We get that one what? 800. 800. So you realize There is a difference between debits and credits amounting to 500. There's a difference to 9,500. There's a difference between debits and credit amounting to 2,300. The difference between debits and credit is 2,300. The credits are 31,800, or the credits are 29,500. The credits are 29 what?
900.
900. Now, when this happens, and you have tried your best, and you don't know what is the cause of this difference, we say that we take the difference and we put it to the side with the deficit. We take the difference to the side with the what?
Deficit.
In our case, our debit side has a deficit of 2,300. Our debit side has a deficit of 2,000 what? 300. So we come here and we say we are taking it to suspense account. We are taking it to where? Suspense account. So that both sides now balance with 31,800. We are saying we don't know the cost of the 2,300. We take the missing amount to an account called what? Suspense account. We create an account called suspense account in our books of account. We create an account called suspense. It has a debit balance. It has a debit what? Balance. So we come to the debit side and we say 2,300, and we are saying it is coming from where? It is coming from the trial balance. It is coming from the what?
Trial balance.
Trial balance. And we have tried to find the cause of the problem, and we are not able. We are not able. We are not able. Now, how then do we prepare? Because we have a deadline by when we are supposed to have prepared our income statement and our balance sheet. So what do we do? What do we do? Just as what do we do? What do we do? We're in trouble. We don't know what caused this problem. We don't know what caused this problem. And we want to prepare our final what? Accounts. We have a date. We've been told by this time you must have prepared the income statement and the balance sheet. And we've tried to look for this reason, we are not able to do it. Now, how do we deal with this? This is not an asset. It is not a liability. It is not capital. Where do we take it? Where do we take it? Now, how we deal with this depends on whether this balance was debits or credit, whether debits or credit, and whether it was material or not. And whether it was material or what?
No.
Or not. Whether it was material or not. Whether it's material or not material. And was it debit or was it what? Credit. Was it debit or was it credit? Was it debit or what?
Credit.
Credit. Was it debit or credit? Because we don't know. We don't know the cost. So we are allowed. 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 Please mark this. Mark this. Now, when it is material, what do we say? Material. Material is how big is it? How big is it? How big is it? Now, if it is significant, if it is material, for instance, if this, and basically if you look at this, when it's definitely material, because we're talking about 2,000 and this is that 1,000, it is close to even 10%. It is close to 10% because 10% is 3,100. It is significantly material. So if it is material and it was a debit balance, if the balance was debit and it was, if the balance was debit and it was material, always, anytime it is material, we take it to the balance sheet. We take it to the what?
Balance sheet.
To the balance sheet. So here, a debit, in the balance sheet, the items that I show debit are assets. They are what?
Assets.
So here we come and we call it sundry debtors. We will debit sundry what?
Debtors.
We will increase our sundry debtors. We will debit sundry debtors. We will increase our sundry debtors. We increase our what?
Sundry debtors.
If the balance was credit balance, if this balance was on the credit side, which was in the credit side, we will take it to the balance sheet and we record it as sundry creditors. We record it as sundry what?
Creditors.
We record it in the balance sheet as sundry creditors. We record it in the balance sheet as sundry what?
Creditors.
But if it is immaterial, assume it was something like 100 or even 50 bob. 50. If it was 100 or even 50 or even 10 or even what?
10.
10. It is immaterial. It is not material. It is not what?
Material.
In the income statement, debits are usually expenses. They usually what? Anytime we say we are debiting the income statement, we are saying we are recording an expense. And therefore, in the income statement, when it is not material, we will say it is an expense. It is a what?
Expense.
It is an expense. We record it as an expense, and we can call it miscellaneous expenses. Miscellaneous what?
Expenses.
Miscellaneous expenses. But if it is credit, we will call it other incomes. We record it as an income. We will say is other what? Other incomes. We record it as other incomes. We record it as other what?
Incomes.
But what happens? What happens when we have done all this and we have created a suspense account? We have closed our books of accounts. We have closed our books of what?
Accounts.
Accounts. But miraculously, in the course of our finding out, what happened? We discover something. We discover what?
Something.
We discover the cause of the error. We discover the cause of the
error.
What do we do? 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 For instance, if we realize that this particular suspense account is because we debited three debtors. We debited three debtors with 2,300, but we did not credit sales. We made a sale, but we debited three debtors, but we never credited what?
Sales.
We always say this. And this is where many students go wrong. You must always ask yourself, what is the transaction that was done so that we can correct the error? So that we can correct the what?
Yeah.
So in this particular case, because this was correctly done, you don't go debiting three debtors. You don't go debiting three what?
Debtors.
Now, and because this was not done, we do it. So we are saying what was not done or whatever was wrongly done, we correct it. We do it. You do what?
Yes.
But the corresponding entry cannot be debit. Because if you debit again, you'll be double debiting. You'll be double what?
Debit.
Because we had debited three debtors, but we never credited sales. We debited three debtors, we never credited what? Now, if you credit sales and you debit three debtors, you'll be double debiting three debtors. You'll be double debiting what? And therefore, the corresponding debit is supposed to go to suspense account. It's supposed to go to suspense what? Account. So in this particular case, let's assume that we credited sales. We credited, I think this is correct. Trade debtors. Assume as we credited sales with 2,300, but we never debited debtors. We never debited what?
Debtors.
We never debited debtors. We credited sales with 2,300, but we never debited what?
Debtors.
So whatever was not done, or what was done wrongly, we do it. So we now debit what? We debit debtors. We debit what?
Debtors.
We debit debtors with 2,300. But we cannot credit sales because we credited sales. We cannot credit sales because we credited what? So instead of crediting sales now, we will credit suspense account. We credit what?
Suspense account.
Suspense account, the 2,300. So we come here, as we debit debtors, we will credit suspense account, and we will be saying it is through debtors. And we say 2,300, and our suspense account has no balance. So we increased our debtors, but we are not crediting sales. We are crediting suspense. We are crediting what? Suspense. We are crediting suspense. We are crediting what? Suspense. There are very many types of mistakes that we talked about. Just let's assume a number of them. Let's assume a number of those mistakes, and we try to see how to correct them. For instance, there was an error, a casting error in one account. There was a casting error in one what?
account.
In one account. So we are saying in our account of trade creditors, when we are adding them, we say it was 9,500. That is correct figure, but we added and we saw 9,000. We saw 9 what?
9,000.
So we understated trade creditors with 500. It was supposed to be 9,500, but we captured 9,000, meaning we added wrongly. And our creditors have been understated. Our creditors have been understated by what? By 500. But the rest of the entries are correctly done. The rest of the entries are correctly what?
Yeah.
Done. So we need to collect our creditors. We need to collect our what?
Creditors.
So we are going to credit creditors. We will credit creditors with the 500, but we are not going to debit purchases. We are going to debit suspense what? Suspense account. To debit suspense account. We are trying to eliminate the suspense account. We are trying to eliminate the what? Suspense account. Assume that we entered the different amounts. Assume when we are doing the posting of our credit sale, of our credit purchase, assume when we are doing a recording of our credit purchase, and this is trade creditors, we debited purchases with 10,500. And trade creditors, this is the correct amount, but in trade creditors, we captured only 1050. We captured what? 1050. Purchases. Please note this. That here, we have no problem in purchases. We have no problem where? We have a problem here. We posted the wrong amount here, but here it was correctly done. So you cannot debit and credit. Because here it is correctly done, but here it is wrongly done. We have a difference, 10,900, we have a difference of 9,000. So what are we going to do? We are going to debit trade creditors. We are going to credit, to increase trade creditors, to increase the trade creditors, we will credit trade creditors. We will credit what? Trade creditors with 9,000. But we cannot debit purchases because purchases was correctly done. We cannot debit purchases because purchases were correctly what? Okay. So we come and we debit suspense. We come and we debit what? Suspense account with 9,000. I want to repeat again. Errors that affect the trial balance. It is because in one account, things were done well. But in the corresponding account, things were not done well. So the one where things were done wrongly, you correct it. You do what?
Correct.
But after correcting, the corresponding entry cannot be. The corresponding entry is where things were. The corresponding entry is a suspense account. I want to repeat again. The greatest secret about errors that cause a difference in the trial balance. The errors which are disclosed in the trial balance. When you get one, the account where something was done wrong, you correct that account. You correct that what?
Accounts.
You correct that account. But the corresponding entry cannot be where things were done right. The corresponding entry is a suspense account. You record what was omitted, but the corresponding entry is the suspense account. You correct where mistake was done, but the corresponding entry is a suspense account. Why? Because when this mistake arose, we are saying one account things were done correctly, but the other one things were done wrongly. When that happens, then there is an error that is disclosed by the trial what? Trial balance. I'm essentially saying this. That you need to know all the types of errors. Errors of complete omission, errors of original entry, errors of principle, errors of commission, errors of complete reversal, transposition error, all types of errors. And therefore, once you know that this was not manifest, they are not able to be detected in the trial balance, you know how to treat them. Errors that are causing a difference in the trial balance, we know how to treat them. I want to repeat again. Errors that cause the trial balance not to balance. Where something was not done or it was wrongly done, that account, look for it. Look for that account. Correct, do what was not done. But the corresponding entry goes to the suspense account. The reason we have this error which is reviewed by trial balance is because in one account things were done wrongly and in the other one things were done right. Now you cannot correct the one where things were done wrongly together with the one which things were done right. You'll be correcting one mistake and creating another mistake. So the corresponding entry goes to suspense account. The corresponding entry goes to what? Suspense account. Now, I will be doing past papers. I'll be doing past papers on correction of errors. I'll be doing past papers on correction of errors. But this one was just purely to teach you how to correct errors. How to correct what? Errors. Now, peradventure, you might find that you have done the income statement and you have done the balance sheet, but even after doing the income statement and doing the balance sheet, because there was a difference in the trial balance, and you know how we treated it, because there was a difference in the trial balance, we start asking ourselves, what happened? What happened? We continue asking ourselves what happened. And once you discover what happened, now you cannot change the income statement, you cannot change the account which had errors, and you cannot even go to suspense because you have already prepared the income statement and the balance sheet. So we start asking ourselves, okay, fine. How do we adjust for those errors that we have now discovered? That's why we talk about the corrected income statement. The corrected what?
Income statement.
Income statement. Now, if you discover the cause of the error after you have prepared your income statement and balance sheet, then the only thing you do is to correct the income statement by correcting the profit made. By correcting the what?
Profit made.
So we come here and you say profit. You come and say what? Profit. So maybe our profit is 6,500 shillings in thousands. Shillings in what? Thousands. Now, once you discover the errors that were made, you need to ask yourself, how did those errors affect our profit? How did those errors affect our what? For instance, if we understated our purchases, it means we understated our cost of goods sold. We understated our cost of goods what? So we understated expenses. You understated the expenses, and because you understated the expenses, our profit was overstated. Yes? So we say here, we less COGS understatement. We less COGS under what? So that our profit is we get the correct adjusted profit. For instance, if the sales were understated, it means we also understated our what? Our profit. So we add sales understatement. We add what? Sales understatement. If, for instance, our other incomes were omitted, our other incomes were what? It means our profit was understated. So we say we add other incomes. We add other what?
Income.
We add other incomes. Now, if there was an expense which was not deducted, it means our profit was overstated. So we say we deduct carriage inwards, outwards. We deduct carriage outward. It will reduce profits. It will reduce what? Profit. Expenses reduce profit. Expenses reduce profit. If for instance, our drawings were recorded as expenses, we know drawings are not expenses, and therefore they reduced our profit. So we add back drawings deduction. Drawings what? Deduction. So the things that reduced our profit, we add back. Whatever reduced our profit, we add back. Whatever reduced our profit, you do what? Add back. The question you should ask yourself is, what was the impact on the profit? Whatever reduced our profit, we add back. Whatever reduced our profit, we add back. Whatever increased our profit, we deduct. Whatever increased our profit, we do what?
Deduct.
So you get the total figure here. You get the new profit after adding back. Profit after additions. Profit after what? Additions. Then you subtract the negatives. You get an adjusted profit. You get the adjusted what?
Profit.
You get the adjusted profit. You get the adjusted profit. Now that's the way to prepare the statement of adjusted, corrected income, or even the getting, how to get the adjusted what? Profit. Ladies and gentlemen, I want again to plead with you, share, like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so that anytime we are loading these videos, we are able to inform you. Thank you very much. That's the way to prepare how to correct the errors that are disclosed by the trial balance. That's how to correct errors that are disclosed by the what? By the trial balance. Please, 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 I want to urge you, look at our past paper solutions. We have questions whereby now we are solving past papers. Where the first thing is to identify the type of error, and then because we know the type of error, we know how those errors are corrected, and then we go down and do the correction, and you realize that most of the past paper questions, they will talk to us about, they will mix the two errors. They will mix the errors that affect the trial balance and errors that do not affect the trial balance, and you are expected to collect all of them and then prepare your final accounts. Now, you cannot be good in this unless you know all the types of errors. Many students are very quick, they are very fast, they want to go and solve the question, the past papers. That's not the way to go about it. The way to go about it is to understand in details the various types of errors. Errors that do not affect the trial balance, the way we treat them is not the same way we treat errors that affect the trial balance. Once you know that this is this type of an error, then your ability to find out, correct the error, it is very easy. We will be able to know that errors that affect the trial balance, we use the suspense account. Errors that don't affect the trial balance, we do not use suspense account. We do not use suspense account. Now, when you are dealing with the errors that affect the trial balance, when you are dealing with the error that cause the trial balance to balance, always the mistake that was done, you correct it. The mistake that was done, you correct it in a certain account, but the corresponding entry does not go to the account where things were done correctly. The corresponding entry goes to suspense account. The corresponding entry goes to suspense account. Our numbers are also flowing because we have online classes. We don't mind. Even if you ask us question using the number that are within our videos. But I want to urge you, join our online classes. Study with the best. We've done this for the last 16 solid years. And I want to assure you that we are the best in East and Central Africa. Thank you very much. Most welcome.